Hello, and welcome to Symbols and Secrets, the podcast for practitioners of the mystery arts. For more episodes, full uncut conversations, and more, please visit our website symbolsandsecrets.com. And now, your host, Jonathan Pritchard.
Thank you, Malcolm, for that introduction. Yes, hello, I am your host, Jonathan Pritchard, a full-time speaker, entertainer, consultant, author, you name it. I've traveled the world as a mentalist and met the world's most interesting people, and these are my conversations with them. My goal with this podcast is to help you get a peek into the minds of great performers so you can level up your performing, your skills, your writing, your business, and maybe even your life in general. There's a lot going on with the show right now, so stick around afterwards for some show and personal announcements. But for now, I want to get right into the conversation. Your featured guest for this episode has been performing at the Magic Castle, on TV, at all the new magic hotspots popping up all over the country and everywhere in between. And I'm excited for you to meet him. Here we go.
All right. Hello, my name is Luis Carreon. I'm a Chicago-based magician.
I have been a big fan of your work for quite a while now. We met at the Chicago Magic Lounge before it was the fancy Chicago Magic Lounge. And I've seen you work and do thousands of routines, I bet now, watching your tableside and stage stuff. So I'm really excited to have you share your thoughts about magic, performing, connected with audiences and that kind of a thing. So walk me through your background and some of how you got to be here.
Sure. So, oh my God, saying the old Uptown on the ground seems like so long ago. It really seems just like, oh my God, it's been that long. So I got into magic around the age of 8. And part of the reason I think that inspired me was my grandfather. My grandfather was a circus clown in Mexico. And whenever he will be in town, he will always do a little bit of magic for me. Nothing crazy, but what I really enjoy about it is that he never told me how it was done. So I think that really kind of was like the thing that intrigued me the most. And then after that, I forgot about it for a while. And then I finally, moved to the United States. And during that time, I started, I joined grammar school and I couldn't speak English, still can't. And there was a magic shop nearby by my school. And I think just seeing the magic shop and thinking about my grandfather, that kind of got me interested back again in magic. And I also found it as a way of be able to communicate with the students in school. Because I was just starting to take ESL classes. So I thought, maybe if I do a couple like little visual tricks, maybe they can be my friends. And it was nothing fancy that what I was doing, but at least it was a start,
That's really cool. I didn't know that your grandpa was a clown. That's great. So over the years from that humble beginning, you've gone out for TV and appeared on a lot of that kind of a thing. Talk to me about those experiences because television freaks me out. I'm always worried that there's a producer that has an axe to grind and is going to put a camera in exactly the wrong spot. And I know that that's my fear talking. So walk me through how you managed to book television spots and make them a net positive.
Yeah. So I'll be honest, with like some of the television stuff that I've done or radio or anything like that, everything has come by by chance. I don't know how to explain it because, there's people that are always looking forward to like, oh, you know what, I want to get on TV, and they do research, they try to see possibilities on how they can get into it, right? For me, it was always kind of like someone will see me and they were like, hey, would you like to be part of the show? I'm like, sure, and I didn't know anything about TV, I think pretty much I learned when I was there. But one thing that I was kept in mind, I always, for example, when I did like Sábado Gigante, and this was like years ago, this like Spanish show, I always just remember what was always their frame that they will always use for the axe or like, the camera angle. So I kind of always try to work for that angle that they were just always using. But when it came to like TV background or knowledge, I didn't know anything just because it was kind of like me just being thrown in the pot. People be like, "Hey, can you do this?" Sure, I'll do it. I'm not gonna. I'll be honest. I didn't know how it's gonna look on TV, but I was always just about for the challenge to see if I can pull it off.
Right. It was kind of the say yes and then build it kind of approach.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty much. That's kind of how my career has always been like that. I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I think I can pull it off. Okay, that's kind of how I've always feel about what I've done over my career.
Right, and it's always been kind of one of those things of this show, this gig, this opportunity. Somebody's in the audience, and then they come back to you later and go, "Hey, I saw you over here. Can you do that over here instead?" And it just kind of one thing leads to the other.
Yep, yeah, it does, and I mean, over the years, just doing it so much and seeing other performers on TV, that kind of has like helped me and just pick the right material for for like the right camera angle or what they specifically need. Because TV is like, all right, you got a minute, and then in magic or mentalism, or pretty much overall, it's hard to do a thing in a minute, and just try to build that connection with the audience. It's hard to do it in a minute, but sometimes you just gotta satisfy the producers, because they give you a chance to that whole thing about exposure,
right exactly. One thing I really right, one thing I wanted to talk to you about is branding, because nowadays you wear and you share some promo photos from back in the day, and they're just marvelous. So thank you for sharing them, because for anybody that hasn't seen them, it looks like you're the lead singer in a emo band with the kind of, if you got the mascara and eyeliner and the kind of spiky hair over the forehead and covering one eye, if that's in your mind, that you've nailed it. So talk to me about how your image has changed over the years.
Yeah, and those pictures that are kicking around online, those are like phase 2, because prior to that, my look was even a little bit worse. There was like black lipstick and black nail polish. So I've always felt like I've gone through phases with my look, but there was a moment where I realized what I wanted to do in this business, and part of it is, well, number one, I wanted to make a living, right? And I wanted to attract the right clients. And because of the look that I had, believe it or not, I was actually losing up on a lot of gigs. People will look at a picture of me, or they will meet me in person, and they see, skinny jeans, long hair, and that kind of stuff. And, a lot of times that was not the look that we're looking for during an event, Maybe if I was working for like a rock concert, doing walk around, that would work good. But, there was, it was more about changing my look to be able to make a better living, try to make more corporate, events and that sort of thing. So, I mean, I do miss the look, but I do feel it was for the better.
Right. Did you have clients or people who thought they wanted to book you? Did you have enough people actually tell you that up front, say this isn't the right look? Because a lot of times when you miss an opportunity, you don't even know that you missed it, because they just don't call you. So you never see the calls you don't get. So did you have enough people actually tell you actively, they're like, we like you, we just can't have you looking like this, talking to the executives at this big company?
Yeah, it was like that. It didn't just happen like, people try to book me, and this will happen like emails, but also happened when I was doing restaurant work down in Illinois or Chicago. There's a place called LaGrange, Illinois, and it's like Naperville, very squeaky clean, and I was doing magic at a restaurant there, and I was not working for money. I was doing it for tips, but I was also doing it just to get really good at my magic. And a lot of the times, I would get rejected at the tables, and some of the people were not ashamed to say it. They're like, no, and it was all about the look. The moment that I got a haircut and I changed the look, everything changed, so it was like, it kind of hurt me, because, I wanted to be me. But that was not kind of like, what the people that wanted to hire me did. So, but yeah, people told me even that when I started working at Magic Inc., people will complain to like the store manager, hey, you know what? Maybe you should change about who you hire or what person looks like. So, just say, and yeah, this happened at Magic Inc. many times when I started working.
Wow. And how long has it been that you've been working at Magic Inc. too?
You know what? I'm getting close to 12 years now.
Wow.
I know, right? But I've been working for magic shops for so long. Even before Magic Inc., I used to work at Easy Reese's, that magic shop that I mentioned earlier on, that was nearby my school. I started working there, so yeah, I've been hopping from magic shop.
That's fantastic. So, what's the kind of magic that you're interested in? What is it that you like spending your time on?
I change all the time. There was a while where where I was focusing a lot in mentalism, and then I hopped back to just like, sleight of hand magic, then back to mentalism. So I like to learn a little bit about everything. I like, I perform for children's as well, but I just enjoy pretty much learning magic in general. I want to try to learn as much as I can, so I can try to fit my show to like any venue, that they might want to hire me. So I still think that my favorite thing is still sleight of hand with cards. But overall, I just love jumping between things. And part of it is because I get bored easily. So like, I'm like, okay, I do this. You know what? I'm kind of bored. What's the next thing I want to work on, So I'm always constantly up and down. I don't think I have like a thing. So I like to think of it as general magic. Yeah, I like the whole concept of just general.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was impressed by, is the quality of your close-up and also your ability to do a good job on stage, because it seems to be kind of the kiss of death where walk around focused person goes, well, I want to have a quote unquote real show. And then it turns into close-up tricks in front of a large audience. It doesn't really reach. So walk me through how you think about close-up first.
All right. So with close-up, the way I've learned is because, when I put my first like actual like show, I didn't have a show. So then I pitched a show and I didn't have a show. And they gave me a date, so I had to work on a show, and the show was not great. But to me, how do I start with close-up magic? See, for me, the style that I like to be, fast-paced, quick, and flashy, right? So for me, with close-up magic, it has to be unique to me in the sense of, well, whatever like jokes I'm telling, but also the fast-paced magic that is happening. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense.
You are. I mean, it's that kind of classic Chicago style, which is kind of machine gun, rapid fire, but not too fast.
Right.
But there's a lot going on all the time.
Right. Where I almost want at least every piece of my show to be strong. Because, a lot of times people will build their shows where it's like, you know what, I want to start with a good, strong piece. Then in the middle, we have some like, and then we get to the end, and that's when they give them the big finale, right? For me, every effect in the show has to be reaction. So and I think part of it is because when I put my first show together, pretty much every trick in there could have been like a closer itself. So just because I was just grabbing random tricks, and I think that's how I build my close-up show, where I need everything to be strong, So that was that. And then also for someone who does card magic, I didn't want my show to be a whole like, hey, pick a card. Because, once you find a card, people get it. So the way I try to build the close-up show that I'm doing right now, I start with pretty much there's no pick a card tricks until the end. And then I think that, at least for me, once I get to that point, it's a little more special for the audience. Oh my God, you're just gonna let us pick a card finally. And it was just that one piece, and it was not like repetitively over and over. So I think that's kind of like the important thing for me. My concept show has to be variety, and just one pick a card trick. That's it.
Right. And I mean, you kind of are spoiled because of working at the Magic Lounge. It's just gorgeous and wonderful, and people are going there specifically to see what you do. And there is a close-up room where 43 people can watch everything that you're doing, and it's a close-up show in addition to the walk-around that you're doing beforehand. So remember back, if you can, to those restaurant walk-around gigs. When you did get your look right, did you ever have a challenge about feeling confident enough to interrupt these people trying to have a nice meal or having a conversation, and here I am going to butt in? Like, how did you think about introducing yourself to a table?
Any walk around person can tell you that that's like the hardest thing, just how do you walk to a table, right? And even up to date, it's always different because every person is different. Some people are having a good day, some people are having a bad day, and the way I just pretty much introduction that I just put together for like any kind of situation. Because the first thing that people are afraid that when when you approach them, is like, okay, is this going to cost me a thing, right? That's like the thing, like, oh, this is going to cost me money. I don't want to see, this wannabe magician who's at a restaurant, because if he could be a good magician, he wouldn't be at a restaurant. Let's be honest,
Right.
That's the thing, like whenever you see like amazing street performers, like, oh, well, if he was a real, and people don't know this, but they're amazing. It's like, oh, boy, if he was a great magician, he wouldn't be a street performer. He would have his own show. To me, that's the mentality that some people have, where they're like, oh, why is this guy doing magic at a table at a restaurant, So it almost seems like a lot of times when you approach him, it's kind of like, oh man, how do I say without not sounding harsh? It's almost like asking for money, So the introduction at work is pretty much like, hey guys, my name is Luis. Part of the entertainment. I'm going around doing a little bit of magic as a gift from the restaurant to you. And can I show you something cool? And I think to me, as soon as I say as a gift from the restaurant, that just kind of like, it changes a little bit, saying as a gift, because I used to be like, hey, my name is Luis, here, pick a card. And it was too straightforward. It's like, who's this kid? Is he even part of the restaurant? I mean, that's the thing, it's, that's one thing that I've learned over the years working restaurants, that a lot of times people will ask you, so how did you get in here to do magic? People, if they don't see a poster of you on the door or anything like that, they think that you're just walking out of the street and doing
right. The manager just hasn't noticed you yet and hasn't thrown you out.
Yeah. So that's why I say as a gift from the restaurant, because now that seems like, okay, you know what? We had dinner here. Now the restaurant is treating us to some tricks instead of just being like, I've learned that, just being too straightforward. Hey, pick a card. Because I thought I would be cool if I was like confident about it. But sometimes I think confidence can look bad, especially if they don't know what's the purpose you're there for,
Right. Because it kind of goes towards reading the vibe of your audience. Are they having a good day? Or are they having a bad day? And having the same overconfident approach can go bad for either of them. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And I've had it once where like, actually a few times where like I would just walk up to people. I'm like, hey, my name is Luis. I'm here with the restaurant doing magic tricks. And literally this guy turned to me and is like, hey, can you leave me the F alone?
You're like, well, yes, I can. Thank you.
And then you feel like the worst thing ever. It's like, oh my God, he doesn't want to see my magic tricks. But it's not you. Sometimes they're just having a bad day. And sometimes, let's be honest, not everybody likes magic. I think that's the thing that we need to understand. Not everybody likes magic. Just like not everybody likes sports,
Yeah, that's a good insight too. So when you're working at the Chicago Magic Lounge doing walk around in that hour before the stage stuff starts, how are you thinking about the tables? Are you kind of doing a 10-minute for this table and somebody else is going to do 10 minutes for that table? Is it kind of get in there, do as much as you can in 1 minute because you got a lot of tables to cover? What's the idea back there?
You know, the way the table magic works at the Chicago Magic Lounge, it's so much different than you will like do for like a walk around restaurant, you know. At the Magic Lounge, our goal, first of all, is to make sure that everybody sees magic, right? And our goal is to have the audience see as many magicians as possible. Well, in that hour, right? And so, believe it or not, we try to keep it to like about 5 minutes. You know, 5 minutes. To me, that's like the rule at the lounge, 5 minutes. You know, we do have some performers that take a little bit, you know, longer, you know, at the tables. But the goal is to keep it to like 5 minutes. And I mean, I love working at the Chicago Magic Lounge, but that table hour, it's more about just making sure they see a lot of magicians. Because even if they see a trick from one magician, you know, but if they see 3 magicians, they feel like they saw a lot of magicians, you know, even if every magician is just doing one trick, they feel like they saw a lot of different performers as compared to like being one magician doing 10 minutes at the table and then moving on and they don't see anyone else, you know? So when you're at the lounge, the table magic is really more about the business aspect of it, where everybody needs to see magic fast and quick and just try to get everybody in the whole room. So that's the whole different thing. We don't really have like the luxury to kind of like have like a real connection, you know, because I'm like, hey guys, my name is Luis. Welcome to the Chicago Magic Lounge. First time. All right, here, you know, take one out. Don't let me see it. Shuffle it, boom, boom. Look at that. Card under the watch. All right. Have a wonderful time. Have a great evening. Enjoy the drinks. Next table. That's how fast he has to be.
Right. Because it's not the Luis show. They're there for the whole experience, and you're a part of that whole experience.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, I mean, now, of course, if the table they had a good time with you just on those first 3 minutes, then, you know, it's like, hey, you know, don't want any requested, we stay a little bit longer. But our goal is just to make sure that everybody sees magic, because if nobody sees any, you know, people just complain at least about a lot of things. So if they just see one magician, but the guy was there for 10 minutes, they only saw one magician, that's all they saw. And, you know, it's like, we didn't see enough magic. But if they saw 3 magicians and they only one trick, they saw more magicians. It's really weird with that play. It's how people complain about it.
That is weird. That is weird.
Yeah.
So then which came first, the stage or the walk around for you?
Oh, definitely the walk around. Definitely the walk around. The stage came out by accident, and again, that's because I kind of like I just agreed to a request. So I've always done just walk around magic, close up magic, and then a performer in Chicago needed me to cover. Sorry for the scratching. That's the
No
cat.
worries.
One of the a performer reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, I need you to. Can you cover for me this gig?" And I'm like, "Okay. You need to do about 10 minutes of stand up magic." I didn't have any stand up magic. The gig was like 2 days from that day he asked me. I'm like, "Sure, I'll do it. I'll be there." And that's pretty much how it just kind of got thrown into doing stand up magic. It was kind of like, okay, I'll agree to do it. Yep, sure, why not? I can do it. You know.
That's fun.
And yeah, and out of that thing, that's kind of pretty much how I put my metal bending routine together that I used to do a lot. I don't do it anymore, but that's how that routine came about. You know, just okay, I need something, and turned out that the routine was actually pretty good.
Right. So the stage stuff that I've seen you do, it's a really good conduit to connect with the audience. And there's a lot of fun byplay with your participants without making them feel like jerks and that kind of stuff. So walk me through how you think about putting together a stage set now.
Yeah, well, now my stage set has changed a lot. So the way my magic has changed now, especially for stage now, has changed so much. In the mean that the magic is still strong, but now the jokes that I say on stage and the comedy that I'm doing on stage is more about my heritage now. It's more about making fun of myself, It's also kind of making just people feel relevant about kind of what's going on in the world nowadays and how, certain types of people are being treated nowadays. And, I do it in a way where like, they're laughing about it, but then they kind of got to realize what I'm really talking about without me being saying like, hey, because that's how people are nowadays, you let them fill in the blank, so that's how I feel like my transition has happened from like when I used to be like very serious and I try to be like the debonair of magic. My transition has been just comedy and just making fun of myself and just talking about what my people go through. And then people relate to that, especially I've had it with people just like are even from other countries. And they're like, you know what? I relate to what you were talking on stage, and it was very funny, but I never at any point make fun of anyone. If anything, I'll probably just make fun of like, just your typical like, oh my God kind of thing, like, girl accent, American thing, but that's about it. But my goal is never to try to make fun of people, but it's all about making fun of myself, but also just making people understand about what's going out in the world,
So for the folks that are picking up what you're throwing down, where do you want them to find you?
Yeah, so sure. So they can find me in the social media. They can check Facebook, Luis Carreon. On Instagram, it's Magician Luis Carreon. And my website, super simple, www.luiscarreon.com.
Luis, thank you so much for stopping by the show. And for you listening to this right now, as always, links are in the show notes. So make sure you go give him a follow and let him know that we sent you. And briefly, I want to let you know what's going on behind the scenes here at Symbols and Secrets. I have recently set up a new platform for the private community. We're using a solution called Heartbeat. It helps me set up courses, resource documents, bulletin boards, chat channels, and events like video chat hangouts, where we can do AMA sessions, Ask Me Anything, and the whole 9 yards. I'm putting up the full uncut conversations there, and you can join for just a couple of bucks a month to get access to the resources and community we're building there. So head over to symbolsandsecrets.com/secret to get started. And on the personal side of things, my wife just had our first child, a daughter, a week ago. So things have been a little hectic, a little unpredictable. And yes, that's a mentalism joke for you. So thank you for your understanding as the release schedule has been a little wacky, as my daughter's arrival has been getting closer and closer, and now she's finally here. I hope to get more back on schedule, but no promises besides I'll do the best I can amidst the swirl of chaos that is new parenthood. But yeah, that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks for telling your friends about us, and thanks for being a part of the reason this show even gets made. I'm Jonathan Pritchard, signing off for Symbols and Secrets.